We really have a design with no intent to compete with the developer community. There are areas where we'll end up creating applications if we see voids that need to be filled. But mostly our goal is to not try to be the developer of the applications and really let that innovation take place outside of our walls. And so you get the technology right. I think the barriers to entry are solved if you have a good development community and then an easy way to have consumers get access to the applications. And the advent of application stores, I think, have solved that problem largely. I'd put a plug in saying we had an application store a decade ago, but they've become a phenomenon recently, but we've had a lot of learning in that area.
A few weeks ago, we were entertained with Verizon's rollout of LTE, mm-hmm. and it was a very upbeat presentation, very good presentation. I was interested in your own perception of the life cycle, let's say, of 3G rather, sure. going forward. When do you see 4G perhaps overtaking that, 4G handsets? And then another question would be the role of WiMAX and all this.
Sure. Well, I've made some bold predictions in this area, like I'll be retired before we ever see 3G out of the device. I use analog as my proxy. And, it took 8 to 10 years, I think, for Verizon to work analog out of the phone, just because of the vast amount of geography you have to cover in this country. And so think back to my early slide that said our gains are actually becoming marginalized in the efficiency of the technology. And if you look at where CDMA is for Verizon today, I'll say something like 30 to 40 times more efficient than analog was originally. So to me, it's kind of a rhetorical question of how long does it take to have a technology get widely deployed that's really just as good as what's out there versus a dramatic, improvement. Every G, we never knew what 1G and 2G were until somebody defined 3G, and then people kind of went back to define them. But each of the Gs were dramatic improvements in throughput and capacity into the networks, and I don't look at 4G as that, or the technologies that have been kind of ascribed to that moniker. The thing for Verizon is going all the way back to when I was there. I used to get beaten up fairly frequently for the investments we made in CDPD way back when, cellular digital packet data, that we put in when we had the analog network and dedicated a channel to that. That was raw data throughput of about 10K. The network operated at 19.2, but by the time you got the overhead out, were you giving me the no sign? CDPD, yeah. I remember our guy in Albany when I worked at Bell Atlantic and we didn't have it there, he said it stood for can't do, please don't. Don't even offer it. But, Verizon's kind of uniquely positioned that